it's entirely appropriate that every so often as parliamentarians in a democracy we set aside time to consider the role of journalists in wars and conflicts across the world, and to remember those journalists, reporters, cameramen and all those involved in the media who have been killed in circumstances related to their work. As we know, the first casualty of war is the truth. And we rely on the bravery of journalists, often risking their lives to tell us the truth about what is actually happening on the ground. It is reported that this year alone, some 27 journalists have been killed. Some have died in war zones, others have been killed, kidnapped, tortured or imprisoned because they have reported on the activities of the ruling authoritarian regimes, while others have been caught up in the warring factions in failed states. This evening I would like to remember, like others here, some of the journalists who have paid the ultimate price. Shireen Abu Akleh was a Palestinian journalist who was shot in the head by Israeli forces in the West Bank. Age 51, she regularly exposed herself to danger in order to report on the issues of concern to Palestinians. When she was shot, it was clear that she was a journalist, in that she had the word press displayed on her jacket and on her helmet. The circumstances of her death need to be independently investigated, and I fully support the calls by the EU and the UN Security Council for this to be done. There are indications that Israel is targeting Palestinian journalists working in the occupied Palestinian territories, and this cannot be tolerated by the international community. The incidents which took place at the funeral of Shireen Abu Akleh, where Israeli police baton charged the mourners carrying her coffin, were shocking and deeply offensive to decent people everywhere. We also remember Pierre Zabreski, the French-Irish citizen working as a cameraman for the Fox News, who died with his colleague when his car was hit by Russian shelling outside Kiev on March 14th last. We salute his bravery and the other journalists killed in Ukraine, and thank them and their family and friends for the service they have given to democracy. I also want to draw attention to the plight of political prisoners jailed in by the Lukashenko regime in Belarus, some of whom have died in captivity due to their ill treatment. As well as the violation by the Moroccan authorities of the rights of pro-independence Sahrawi activists, including journalists in the Western Sahara. Ceann Comhairle, last Ceann Comhairle indeed, we can never be complacent about the survival of democracy and the threat posed by autocratic regimes. Media pluralism and freedom of the press are so important for our democracy in the context of the rule of law, and it needs to be safeguarded and protected. Last Ceann Comhairle, I think it's entirely appropriate that we have this debate here this evening. We need to remember these brave journalists. We've only had a chance to mention a few, but they are representative of the profession in general. And as I say, we cannot be complacent about our democracy. Journalists play a crucial role in that, and even within the European Union, the rule of law must be upheld, and I have no doubt that the Member States will ensure that that is done in the weeks and years and months ahead. Thank you.